this morning. So stick around for that, but that will be later in the program. For now, though, we're starting with matters of the ongoing public hearings of the Gambia's Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission. Now, following testimonies from several witnesses, including perpetrators and victims of the National Intelligence Agency, the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission has on Monday begun its 18 sessions of the public hearings. Now, still on its institutional hearing, the Commission will hear more testimonies on NIA brutality, including issues of enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings. Fatma Kasim has more details of that in this report.
During the 17th session, the Truth Commission have heard testimonies from 300 witnesses. 231 of these witnesses were male and 69 were female. At the opening of the 18th session on Monday, the chairman of the commission, Lamin JCC, said the commission is established for reconciliation as well as to seek truth and not to bring conflict among Gambians.
The TRRC was not established in a post-armed conflict environment in the Gambia. The establishment of such post-conflict commissions have traditionally been the culmination of peace negotiations which called for creation of truth-seeking and reconciliation mechanisms. While such mechanism is indeed a central objective of the TRRC, as enshrined in the 2017 Act, it was created in a post-authoritarian transition.
The testimonies of witnesses who appeared before the commission confirmed that the former president Yahya Jammeh was using the National Intelligence Agency and a death squad as the jungler to carry out massive brutality and extrajudicial killings of the ordinary citizens and political opponents. The chairman said this has helped the former President Jammeh to drive for over decades.
The institutions of the state enabled the dictatorship to thrive for over 2 decades. It is imperative, therefore, that the TRRC examine thoroughly the weaknesses and failures of the relevant state institutions, especially the NIA, that facilitated or enabled the Jammeh regime to violate on a massive scale the human rights of the citizens of the Gambia. The NIA, from the testimonies of victims that have either appeared before the commission or submitted written statements, was the primary instrument of fear and terror on the dictatorship of the dictatorship.
Cisse said the commission will find it immensely helpful to receive more information on the remaining themes in its work plan. Some of the remaining topics to be covered by the commission includes enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings alleged committed by the National Intelligence Agency and the junglers Jammeh's death squad.
The commission will find it immensely helpful to receive more information on the remaining themes in its work plan, including the enforced disappearances of people like Chief Ibrahim Mane, Sol Ndao, and Maawa Cham, among others. Also, information regarding the massacre of an estimated 56 West African migrants in 2005. We therefore continue to urge all persons, especially victims of any human rights violations that occurred between July 1994 and January 2017, to please come forward and share their information or experiences with the Commission. Please rest assured that your confidentiality will be strictly guarded by the Commission.
So far, the Commission has heard testimonies from 300 witnesses, and of these, 231 were male and 69 were female. Out of the total number of witnesses who appeared before the commission since January last year, 191 are victims and 51 are self-confessed perpetrators and adversely mentioned persons. 28 witnesses from the Gambian diaspora have testified via video link. These hearings also included several protected witnesses and closed-door testimonies. For iAfrica TV, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
All right, Fatmata Kasim there. Thank you very much for that report. And of course, we will bring you more details of the ongoing hearings of the TRC and subsequent news editions. And as more witnesses are expected to appear before the commission. Su ko defee rek mbokk yi comme ni ngeen ko gisee noonu ci li nga xamante ne mooy ci report boobu TRC bi ni ki démb dañ daal di dellu si ci li nga xamante ne mooy ci toogaay bu ñëwee def di déglu ñi nga xamante ne mooy victimes yi ak tamit ak ñi nga xamante ne ñoom ñooy perpetrators yi ci lu fi jot a xew ci nguur bi fi passé woon xam ngeen ne yàgg nañ ci lool waaye dañ jëloon li nga xamante ne mooy 1 week break démb nag dañ dellusiwaat continuer di déglu ñi nga xamante ne mooy ñu loolu woon ci loxo ñi nga xamante ne mooy NIA yi fii ci biir réew mi su ko defee rek lépp lu nga xamante ne ruusee na fa ci li nga xamante ne mooy ci TRC bi comme ni ñu koy baaxoo di defee da ngeen ko mun a déggee waaye tamit toppa ko ci suñ jotaay ji fii ci kër gi waaye tamit ci suñ yenn jotaay xibaar yi incha allah tey ci kanam tuuti loolu ne leen ko dégtal waaye gannaaw loolu ñu way wax ci leneen wax ci yëf fi support ci jàng ak jàngale ci biir réew mi am ay benn foundation mbootaay dal di dooleel yenn si school yi foofu ci Kombo South ñu wax ci loolu. We'll move on to our next story now because the Sanyang UK Association has donated 200 sets of computers to Kobisali Nursery and Basic Cycle schools at Sanyang village in the West Coast region. The donation came as a gesture of goodwill to benefit 37 schools in the cluster of Banyaka and Gunjur in the Kombo South district. Daisese has more details of that in this report.
Mr. Buba Bojang, the local coordinator of Sanya UK Association, who is also the proprietor and principal of Kobisali Nursery and Basic Cycle School, commended the Sanya UK Association for the humanitarian gesture. He said that the Sanya UK Association has embarked on many humanitarian gestures over the years.
National efforts to promote the learning of information technology in schools in the face of global transformation. This gesture is spearheaded by a philanthropic body called Sanya UK Association. I commend them for the foresight. The humanitarian body has embarked on similar gestures, recommend among which are, that is, the activities that we have been embarking on. This association have been embarking on several activities in the previous years. Among them, we have Ramadan sugar distribution. Year in, year out, they will send in a package, then we'll buy sugar and then distribute it in different mosques in Sanyang and in other parts of the village. And then number 2 is donation of medical equipment to the Sanyang Health Center, was also part of the work that we were doing. Number 3, you have the construction of the kitchen at Sanyang Lower Basic School to facilitate them to have a better hygiene kitchen.
The chairperson of the Sanya UK Association, Sergio Fofana, reiterated the relevance of the donation, noting that the computers will help students in their academic works.
The Executive Committee discussed and the members to make sure that we invite the Director of Education Western Division and the head teachers of various schools from the Kombo South so they can come and attend this presentation, and to make sure that we give them what they need, because the schools need these computers. And when it's there, it will help the kids to make sure that they do all their homeworks and they can get used to the computers, and then that will help them in the future.
Lamin Mani, who represented the Regional Education Director, said the donation will go a way in enhancing the IT skills of both students and teachers.
The contribution of these philanthropists in a form of desktop will go a long way in developing ICT skills acquisition by both students and teachers.
The event ended with the presentation of desktop computers to various schools within the Bainyaga and Gunjur clusters in the Kombo South district. For iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
All right, we are starting with education matters because from a report there from Sanyam Foundation, who donated some computer to the schools. We also talk about civic education now because the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, in collaboration with the National Council for Civil Education, on Tuesday launched a peace-building fund for civic education funded by UNICEF. The project will train teachers and school administrators on civic education to help young people understand their civic rights, laws, institutions, and system. Fatimata Kasim again in this report.
The peace-building fund for civic education would also help teachers to acquire the required skills in engaging with institutions and local communities in the lower, central, and upper river regions of the Gambia. Usman Ba, a representative of the National Council for Civic Education, said civic education is extremely important because it prepares citizens to claim their rights and to carry out their responsibilities in a more responsible way. Ba said different understanding of the meaning and practice of democracy has a detrimental impact on the future of the Gambia.
The faint understanding of the meaning and practice of democracy has a detrimental impact on the future of this country, as perhaps uninformed citizens with very scant knowledge of how to implement democracy use remarks that are very divisive and that are threatening to the peace and stability of this country. This tends to discourage even free and fair participation in the process, and most of the time this kind of disagreement or this kind of derogatory remarks are made through tribal or ethnic lines. And this is a threat to the peace and, of course, to the stability the Gambia is universally known for. And this is why civic education is extremely important, because it prepares citizens of a country to claim their rights and to carry out their responsibilities as citizens, but in a more responsible way.
Civic rights are the theoretical foundation of participation in the public life of a state. Janko Jawane, the principal education officer for Region 6, said it was important for peace building and civic education to be included in the school curriculum.
I expect that this training of trainers will enhance the teaching of civic education in our schools, so that you the trainers, you are the ones who are going to be the trainers at school level and cluster levels. We expect you, whatever you learn from here, you go and train others so that this particular curriculum of peace building and civic education will be introduced in our schools.
There is a strong foundation for building peace in the Gambia, to the extent that when it is shaken, it's that foundation that holds it together. That is manifested in the joking relationship between ethnic groups. According to Noah Jata, an education specialist at UNICEF, civic and peace education should not only be limited to formal education settings.
It doesn't matter whether you put peace, civic education in the school curriculum or not. It should have to be in the education process. That means we are defining education beyond school. When we informally meet in the streets, education happens. When we are in our homes, education happens. When we are in workplaces, education happens. So we have to look at it from that perspective, that it is a key component of our education program, whether in the formal education in schools, or in the non-formal education when we have literacy classes, or in the informal education when we interact in homes and workplaces. But this message has to go through every level. Our happiness cannot be enjoyed if we don't have peace.
The NCCE was created as an independent, non-partisan body to enlighten citizens on their fundamental democratic rights and to cultivate an environment of democratic continuity in the Gambia. Its work is meant to enable all citizens, irrespective of gender, age, religion, or political affiliation, to participate fully in governance and development process of the country. For iAfrica TV, I am Fatmata Kasim.
Civic education right to be taught in schools, and the Gambia has initiated there by the NCC and the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, as you heard from the report there by Fatmata Kasim. And from that report, now we talk about transport matters in the Gambia, because the Gambia Transport Union on Monday held a protest calling on the government to implement a clean system at the ports in Banjul. The GTU said most of the drivers are not benefiting from the current system because the clearing and forwarding agents cleared the containers to the Gambia Ports Authority. They also accused the clearing and forwarding agents of cutting the tariff and giving them on their own price and not giving the drivers their full payments. Now let's have more of that again by Fatmata Kasim.
Omar Cisse, the president of the Gambia Transport Union, said the clearing agents should only stick to clearing and allow the drivers to collect their goods from the ports. Cisse said they complained to the Ministry of Transport and have written series of letters to the government to intervene. He said after a series of meetings with the authorities in charge, the clearing agents refused to abide by the laws put in place, saying it doesn't favor them.
Come with some guidelines. This is 3 months ago. Last month, we indicated that
Last month, they brought guidelines to us saying these are the laws that will govern this transport system. It was not as we wanted, but we respected it because this is government's authority and they have the mandate. Ports wrote a letter to us that now they will implement the queuing system. And on 3rd August, we copied to all stakeholders on the subject matter. On the 2nd, ports contacted us for the implementation to be suspended. I asked why. They said some of the guidelines were not good and some of the laws did not favor them. I told them that even myself, some of the rules did not favor me. But in this life, you don't expect to please everyone. According to the clearing agents, they want to continue collecting $500 and $1,000 they get from the drivers.
The Gambia Transport Union president said the government is the authority, and if the government makes a law and few people refuse to abide by it, then where is the voice of the government?
Tomorrow on the start, according to the guidelines, we have implement. On the 3rd, we implement.
I told them if we do not agree on something, then I will implement this by tomorrow. On the 3rd, then they called PS, and PS told them that this is very clear in the guidelines, that clearing agents don't interfere in the transportation of goods. Government is the authority, and if the government gives out a law, then few people refuse to abide by it. Where is the voice of the government then? We went for a meeting again, and I said that to make it simple, let you load the cars you own, let the ones you don't own do the queuing system. That is, first come, first have. They said no, they will continue to operate the way they do.
According to the GTU president, they have been fighting this for 8 months now, so they had to protest. They said they don't want to fight, but all they need to know is what changed their agreement. That is why they are out, and to their surprise, they saw anti-riot police officers coming for them. For iAfrica TV, I am Fatmata Kasim.
All right, there you go. Of course, that was part of what happened yesterday at the, of course, the GPA, site, and of course, joining me to discuss more on what happened, so we can understand exactly how do we get to this level, is the president of the Gambia Transport Union, Omar Cisse, known as Bala. And su ko defee rek mbokk yi comme ni ngeen ko gisee noonu loolu ci port bi la doon xew démba mu nekkoon li nga xamante ne mooy xew-xew lan foofu diggante of course gis ngeen takkadeer yaa ngi doon taxaw foofu ak tamit ñi nga xamante ne mooy drivers yi li ko waraloon nag mooy affaire yi queuing système bi mooy comme ni ñoo waxee ñoom am na luñ bëgg a ñu doxalin buñ bugg am ñu mu am ci port bi mu daal pour ñu dal di ay def ay lines ñu toppalante ak yu mel noonu ci ni ñoo jëlee bagage yi si port bi génnee ko ci biti loolu nag am na li nga xamante ne daf ci xala laxasu ci niñ ko waxee léegi nag pour gën a leeral ci li waral loolu mu am démba ci port bi ak tamit fan lañ yëf yi dooree ak fan lañ toll ak lan moo war a xew ëllëg loolu moo waral tey ñu dalal fii président bu Gambia Transport Union di Omar Ceesay Balla pour ñu waxtaanee ci loolu of course mbégte lay doon saa su ne dalal ko ci jotaay ji ndax du ci gan saa yi nga ko soxlee tamit dafay yomb lool mu ñëw ñu waxtaan ci li nga xamante ne mooy ci issues of transport ak tamit yu mel ni Mr President ñu ngi lay nuyu am mbégte lool dalal la tey ci suba si leen ñu bàyyi la nga nuyoo ñi nga xamante ñoom ñooy seetaan.
waaw jërëjëf Amadou kontaan na trop pour teewaat fii Africa TV comme la ko waxee fii moom suñu kër soo la ñu oo anytime soo fekkee am nañ jot rek dina ñëw uyu lu yemoon dem ba truly speaking is very so unfortunate expect guñ ko but am na bet nañu trop comme situation dina dem like this but truly speaking we are very disappointed as a trade unionist lu xew fooguñ ne dina mën a am soo fekkee ne we have a serious authorities fooguñ ne war na mën a am soo fekkee ne authorities taw na seen place
loolu dafa am solo comme ni mu ko waxee nee na démba yëf yi nu mu demee nekk na li nga xamante ne mooy séntu lañ kon léegi balaa ñoo dugg ci lu xew démba pour ñu jëlee yëf yi ndànk-ndànk one step at a time nit ñi understand exactly démba li waral démba mu am dafa am fi ngeen dooreen lan mooy problème bi exactly ci port bi dafa mel ni yéen am na li ngeen bëggu te li nekku di first time ngeen koy ñaxtu ngeen koy bëgg a mu am mooy queuing system ci port bi mooy nit ñi nga xamante ne mooy ñuy jël bagage driver yi ñuy jël bagage ci port bi di ko génnee ci biti si port yi jëlee jógee ko ci biti mi réew mu ñëw ci port bi dafa mel ni loolu am nga li ngeen ci bëgga waaye yéen ak kilifa yi waxtaan ngeen ay several times d'accord ngeen yëf yi changé dégg naa for the past 6 or 7 months yéen a ko joytu door nañ door foofu noonu exactly lan moo xewoon ak naka la yëf yi demee da doon demee.
jërëjëf Amadou lii nekkul lu ees.
waaw
loo xamante ni comme démb la commencé. xam na démb la ñu bari yëg ko. but as a trade unionist just to protect the welfare of the informal driver sector. dem feel like ne bu ma ñëw si office bi dama fekk leen ne driver si port bi nekkul di benefit in transport sector. mooy ne su ma ba fitness moo fa nekk. ku ëpp sa morom doole mooy benefit. moto yi dañoo ñëw Gambia amul much of company koo xamante ni commercial trucks mën nañ faa benefit because ñu nga xam ne port la yaakaar foofu lañ mën a am little bit liggéey ñoo def ñun ñëpp d'accord na léegi Gambia fii non Gambia ñu ngi invest in trucking system to be in business to create employment ñu bind government ne pour ñu introduce queuing system at the port.
loolu kañ la woon.
we can say 8 months ago. we started process bi.
ok
through Ministry of Transport. ñu wax na lii ñu bëgg na lii waaye ñu bëgg because Gambia fii soo indee container from abroad nga ni ko Gambia lu waa may la doole yow borom container lu nga clear container
yow mu woon bagage bi doo ko mën a génnee sa bopp.
unless you got a clear agent.
okay
they have an agent between you and the government or the GRA or GPA because agent yi GPA GRA ñoo la di register soo indee sa container agent mun nga koo def sax but lu waa mayu la ñoom mayu la ko you need have agent nga mu cànga nga fay ko mu def service mu def the service kon dal ni ñu la provider third party water suñu last discussion moo tax ministre mu ne di magari si liberal moo koy not liberal anywhere in this world 100% liberal am fenn mécanisme those clan agents ñooy conteneur bu jàkk port seen loxo la di jaar conteneur bu wàcce Gambia seen loxo lay jaar
te ñooñu ñan ñoo leen jox ay ñan ñoo leen registré pour ñu mun a def jaare ok
ok lu ñoo benn because lu si ñuul soob ñoo xam ne ñooy partners ñooy liggéey
ok
fu nat bi liggéey ñu ne leen ci introduce queuing system now ki la agents na def sa liggéey but su bëggee moo tax service pour ñu def transportation after they do their all process state of readiness ñu ñëw si garage ñu jël moto bu ses sira bi mu egg so that other people ñoo xam ne amuñ kenn baañoon n'importe du mën a am kii moom ma ne kii neexul ma kii moom ma wàññi ko du mën a am so bu ñu kenn doon government bi yàgg na mën nañ si am way forward ba on the 3rd July we have this discussion again with the government all necessary stakeholders ñu propose again you can go make massive interest about the subject you want.
Okay.
Because it never makes sense.
It was July.
This July.
May bugin in the buga in the.
Take the reaction on it.
Okay. Okay.
The government commenced July on the 9th July you conclude the subject matter.
Okay.
But in the meeting GPA knew that meeting. The job, but the meeting you find represented by all all the departments. GPA, GRA, so GPA was there. GRA, Minister of Trade, or Minister of Interior, Police. Yep, agreed unanimously just to benefit the domestic transporters. You might have the police. But according to the Minister of contact with the GRA, Minister of GPA, for you get their input. Because you never see me. According to the ministry, that COVID-19 period, you consult then you know because of we can't have a physical meeting with the GPA. So if you keep patient, you have some need. The COVID-19 one you engage them, you have possibilities how to engage GPA. One find the driver's job because if you cannot talk, some of them have their own vehicle or they will come to you as a driver, container because government have national tariff. Wow, but they will come and propose price for you. Yeah, like so government like combo budget to combo Serakunda is 4,000. 20 feet container. Wow. They will propose 3,000. So
lolu pour driver bi tamit mëna liggéey da fekk yang fa tok mën lo am
service ni so liggéey sa boss mën la fay su yaké sa borom la jëmon bi jaay ko nga yow tamit condition mo la forcer nga def ñu gis na li fay am wala sa ñu ne li lolu mënu nek lé ñu bëgg let's stop just give system force come force serve ñepp benefit amuna suñu tarif muy fi driver ka non job bion di tarif ba yow mo lo ci suñu la né ndax keneen mu affaire am neewul
comme lolu mo doon xew driver yi nga xamantene ñu ngi fa won mën nga xey be suba sax do
ay week sax do mëna am service
légui lolu yépp ci loxo clearance agency ñom ñoy tan ki leen neex wala ñom ñoo am seen moto bop ak mel waaw
amna sama moto am na seen moto am ñoy tan ku leen neex ñun kay yépp seen loxo la ñu jaar so fekkee na borom moto driver borom bagage moy ci sa bop kon ku ne ba agent di ñoomé kay ñu ngi wax do gis borom bagage because government mo giara ñoo créé loolu kon mo la ñu gis ne giara def ci am interférence am na ci interest ñoom xama dañ ci am moto o mo ñoo agent
am na lu ci laxasu daal
giara GPA ñoy clair agent o ñoo ci am moto support dal moy dëgg
ndax ñom ñoy liggéey
am talking on media
okay
mbir bi so fe giara du agent mean ñoo ñëna ci kaw ba ñoo liggéey agent GPA ñoo liggéey ci kaw ñoo liggéey agent o ñoo am moto ba dafa am lu ci ñu ci so
est-ce que try ngeen pour xam ci agency lan moo tax ñoom ñu nekk fa ki nga xamante mooy borom bagage bi munta process bagage yi boppam mu fexe ba driver bu ko war a yóbbu mu yóbbu ko ak lan moo tax ñoom bëgg waaw
ñëwee borom bagage yi dañoo jot seen document yëpp ci agent mu dem ñu teg seen sob bi
waaw
agent de process bi loolu la understand ñoom dañoo caaj yëpp understand dañoo caaj yëpp understand but through discussion because man bu ma ko government bu driver def loolu bu you know, what's our system? No. We are discussing with the government with this, but it's not fine right yet. So we're going to jump and do this. Let's go back and continue to consult the government.
Okay.
In that very day, the deputy MD invited me meeting.
MD of Ports. Okay. Mom ci boppam mu nangu ko mu admit loolu war naa am.
The Gambia Police Force. About 3 days very prompt. So now let's make it the next 2 weeks. Gambia notify. You need to support. We go back to Lanka said they do them. We don't have approval. You've been there then. On the 14th of August, you know how much system be. You've been the port, Coffee Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Trade, Gambia Police Force are clearing for and for the agency association. Notify them. We will not agree with the deputy. So the following week, you know at time when you MD will leave. MD leave from the court leave from emergency meeting. You need to discuss about the issue. Before the mu call ñoo dem suba ci ñoo nek ci office mu call yaakaar dama soli bañ ci ñu wax because ñu yebé na area la nek fa ñu tan few people 3 or 4 in SGTV ñu dem fa mo ko area rek la yes ba bu la nekol may tok ci conférence bi ko mako fa jitu kala yes ñu ne ñoo respect ci finance l'état ba dia la ko def tamit ñom bind nañ Ministry of Trade they are waiting for that response Jobada call them just to come and we engage ñu discuss as a stakeholder ba di dam meeting media la way police ñu fa port ñu fa may fa with myself ñu ne ñëwee ci meeting bi bind nañ Ministry of Trade respond nañu xaar ñun ñu meeting fa with the GP ak Gambia Police Force We agree there, on the 14th of 2 weeks of then propose again, make it on the 31st. Almost 1 month. Mom, who engine, no engine, I mean, you've been done again. Still the patient, as the authority, you know, you see what's on the job, more interview, you on the 14th jacket. Then go 1 month. You've been done again. Hammerland on the 14th, you got postponed for on the 30th because of our discussion with the job.
Okay.
So we didn't have intervene.
ñu ngi doon wax ak agency at the time.
Because agency wala wala ñu mi lay waxe ñu ne
ñoom ministre
of trade moo leen ne kenn mënu leen forcer ngeen no, this is not about trade, you are about transport, not trade. It's different institution.
Yeah.
No, transport, we need to guide by the transport policies. But you know, Minister of Trade more than ne kenn mënu leen rando bu recevoir la from Minister of Trade mu direct ñu copy of the president GPA Gambia Police Force and Gambia Revenue Authority clear yet. You know, they are not in the security system. Due to some reasons, you have some reasons. You reply back. Or that later. When they get this security system, where you quoted and because these committees, we are part of it. We know what is the essence of trade facilitation. The way we are is just to facilitate trade. Understand? You know, and secondly, this matter should be guidelines and transport, not trade policies. Transport policies, it's transport matters. It's deep in pure transport. Ma call then minister of job. Ma call ko, ma explain ko, I will invite you to a meeting. Ma invite me meeting, madam officer, man, ak suma assistant secretary, ak suma one staff. My president at the association at port. Ma move for a DPS, ak director of trade, ak similar staff. Ma explain ko situation. Mu ne suma letter because you know lu tax ma ko this is not for trade, it's transport. Ma ko lo because this is transport matters, not trade. Dañ foog ne minister of transport ñoo ko del not trade.
So mu ne moom loolu moo ko neexul ci
fine, su ma la offended, sorry, but that's the belief I have. Ma explain ko mu ne ma dëgg la li nga wax makes sense. Because so fekk you be a judge and be a jury at the same time, kon that means you don't have a fair deal. Ku ci amul doole, ku ci am bokk du liggéey. We hire to protect those those members. Mu ne léegi mu ko summon DPS pour mu call emergency meeting for that subject matter. Ñu di subject matter, mu invite all stakeholders. Emergency meeting bi. That was on Tuesday. She my break and sack well. You them before Monday you meet. You give for on Thursday, call them now. Still do matter. The minister promised us we have a meeting.
Okay.
So Munema the DP that now we think another for the same subject matter. Because now you tell me the number cancel. You go to meet at Minister of Transport. It's the same matter. Mago fight that's very good.
ñu dajaloo seen biir ñu waxtaan.
Invite the agents. You know, according to them, you know, government like no talk resolve matter as far as they are the policy makers.
Okay.
Kon ñu gis na that is the authority we expect from them. So now we really kon government want to make decision in terms of the government, not individuals.
Okay.
Government sit, discuss, according to their guidelines. Minister of Transport was there, Moko Care, Minister of Trade, GPA, and Gambia Police Force. But they're going to say PS of Transport, GRA attend the meeting. You discuss, agree on something. You know, the queuing system, they're not going to approve, but we come with some guidelines, some regulation. Neko na ne man do ko may am ne. Neko kraja no ko wala. Du war nak boko government moko produce. That was 2 months ago. You discuss, you receive a letter from Minister of Transport. Copy you, this is on the 6th of November, last month. You know, approve the queuing system at Port of Banjul.
This is from
Minister of Transport.
Okay.
It's authentic document. You know, approve the queuing system for the UBA. But this is my guidelines.
Okay.
ñu jox ñu ko.
waaw pour mu leer rek ñu gis ko. waaw gars yi waaw this is submission of standard operating procedures for the implementation of queuing system at the GPA following the successful meeting held at the 6th of October 2020 at this ministry conference room to discuss the proposed queuing system for the trucks at the Gambia Port Authority. The ministry has tasked with developing a comprehensive standard operating procedure to guide the process. Following series of consultation with stakeholders, the standard operating procedure has been developed. And please be informed that the Honorable Minister for Transport, Works, Infrastructure has given approval for the attached standard operating guidelines to guide the operations of the queuing system at the port. Therefore, you are kindly urged to work with the Transport Union in working out the modalities and the effective date for the implementation of the queuing systems submitted to your for your kind attention and necessary action. signed Ramatullah Sise for permanent secretary. This is from the Minister of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, MDI Road, Kanifing, 6th of November 2020.
Okay. This is from Gambia Port Authority.
Okay, this is from Gambia Port relating to the same issue. Okay, and implementation of queuing system for container cargo trucks. Okay, this is also, yeah, Gambia Port Authority. Now, action on a consensus reached for a need to enforce a queuing system by the Minister of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, Minister of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment, the Gambia Port Authority and the police force. Addresses are hereby informed that a queuing system will be implemented with effect from 3rd December 2020 under the regulation of the Minister of Transport, Works and Infrastructure through GPA with the support of the Seaport Police. This shall apply only to container cargo, whilst bulk cargo, company owners' trucks and transit goods are exempted from the queuing system. The overall objective is to adopt a system that will ensure fluidity in cargo clearance at the port and minimize truck waiting time with an already congested delivery zone, while soliciting your support to the General Transport Union under whose membership container cargo trucks run. Their activities are challenged with the task of coordinating their affairs in line with the protocols and standard operating procedure outlined for the queuing system. Your cooperation is highly solicited. Lamin Sane for Managing Director from the Gambia Port Authority. So this is the approval document also from GPA.
From the government.
Yes.
And I think it's very not clear. They could never propose.
Yeah.
The logistics definitely proper consultation, proper screening.
So you know nyari letter.
So you talk very last minute, GPA you can say so-called press release, you cancel them because of other party.
So the cancellation from GPA?
Yeah.
Not from the ministry?
Yeah. Because just to make sure we have.
So this was on the 6th, this was 12th of November, GPA.
Yeah.
This one is on the 6th. Okay, Legi, and it was on the December 3rd, queuing system is still going to start. So nyom kany wow, exactly. Wow, of course, I'm going to copy to circular to Minister of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, Minister of Trade. You have Seaport Customs, Seaport Police, Seaport SIS, General Transport Union, Association of Clearing and Forwarding Agencies, all shipping lines were copied. Wow, this was on the 12th of November, 2020.
We talk of the last week, you meeting on the.
Yes, can you been done?
This is on the same day I received the letter.
Well, no, you can now cancel this agreement.
No, December, November.
Wow.
You know, the meeting. You postpone only for the meantime. You know what is the motive behind? You know, clear agents know you know leave favor them. Mako mo brother, mako try to be serious. Mako lua muso ko zimu favor yem. Si ala dem. Mako is through the guideline. Ma amna masi mukut. But this is authority decision. So government community this approve.
Okay.
So before you want to Mukol CG.
Jobade is the managing director of GPA. Okay.
Mukol CG because plan is not doing so well doing the then she's all document the I'm not going to trade. Mukol GRA. Moda mana pana se mola wa yago gis. Mukol CG wahaman mona ma jarba mako ni jay lola ko dina di wanda mom. Fa clever la. Mona ma dama so suma ngeen ñew. That was on the second. On the first Jabba Joe Ibisi come port call the premier should be on the third. Muna masuma ngeen ñew on the second ñu ne fa grand yes. Ñu ne li baaxut commencé une story li amon na fi mako da sa imo. Won ma admission is most concern. Tu sais ça amon na fi in 2012 up to 2016. The previous government ñoo cancel union du modern war. Mako but that time we don't have regulation. We don't have any guidelines. Mako but this time government more in the guideline. So loi bo mo wara govern. Ko ñu yeb de wara ku yaaka loi bo the government to before the law front of the court.
ci meeting boobu sax ndax ñoom clearing agency forward nañ any reason li tax ñoom.
ñu ne according to them ñu ne. drive bu fa the premier administration. dañoo see seen document yi boñ ko teg ko benn place. benn.
waaw
number 2 moto il lañ jo baaxut. number 3 comme là dañoo liggéey ma amuñ coordinateur relationship.
waaw
moo ko my administration ça am concern. Man, I don't have any business with your get pass. I have my manifest. I will enter my document because I need to take government the data before behalf of the government. Guidelines.
Okay.
But number two, vehicle road worthy, that is not my problem. That is problem of the government police force. No certificate vehicle is not worthy. Come but this vehicle is not worthy.
Okay.
But we can have a committee to do the guidelines to assess those vehicles. Before the previous administration, guidelines not there, but the government committee guidelines.
Okay.
Okay. In that meeting, we don't agree. They don't agree. You don't go and you according to. Man, tomorrow will start implementation. So, I start implementation. Tell me to do a already. You do a civil policy. I'm doing it. Watching what your content gain activity. Hold on. As a association, the port of Banjul, kila moto duga e container, kila am doole. Ñu wacce container ci kaw moto bi wacce jëne moto bi. Dafa téxé. Ñu jógee fa. That on the same Thursday, Ngol Minister of Transport on meeting. Pour ñu discuss. Xam nga, ñu discuss ak ñoom. Man leen di policy la di douane. So they got respect. So lu baaw after implementation, we can amend it. But pour ñu stop ko bi daal mako we gonna do that.
Okay.
In that meeting, tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm meeting by. That is Friday. Now I'm meeting by 10:30 at our office. Because Monday, Suba, lady, some more, you get more. We give him priority. Get them. Some more than you more. The rest, you meeting. Soon d'accord, you put before the government. Soon d'accord, government told us they will take final decision whether we like or not. Government will come to final recommendation. Understand? You take it for so much you hear by someone you know, you remember you contain we don't agree this. That is the out. That evening, Friday evening, Ministry of Trade, syndicator, call us everything. We went there, I'm there, with Clary and their president, GPA, GRA, Ministry of Transport, Permanent Secretary was there. We discussed. You know, mainly make things easier, just to make development as a trade unit, as a negotiator. Manale Samote, I'm you know what? So on the now, I will take this opportunity as a leader. Your own vehicle are exempted.
They'll just go and
but you judge the system.
Okay.
Agree that. Not insurance, because insurance is not automatic. Everyone, before next week Monday, bring all your orders of transfer or original document of vehicle. You come from the amount.
Okay.
That's it for the agreement. My son, I travel to Senegal. When you brief somebody, you know, brief you was standing. You agree more than Mako dem nañ udde ba government lu wax as a leader négocier nañ man am na luma bay ci agreement bi ñu sama exam nako yeen ma jox dem do as a leader ci pas ñëw ñu no ñu lu ñu liggéey nañ ko liggéey
ok mu nekk lu doy waar gannaaw loolu yëpp léegi démba ñu gis ngeen dajaloo ci port bi ab paaraay ñëw fa jaxasoo am loolu dañ koy tënk rek because li ngeen wax fii foog naa ne dafa mel ni am na lu laxasu ci yëf yi comme ni nga ko waxee te tamit agreement buñ sign léegi démba pour tënk rek just in a minute ndax time bi jeex na lan moo xew exactly démba lan moo taxoon ngeen génna na da ngeen bëgg ñaxtu wala because président bi def doon génna ngeen bëgg a gisoon ak moom wala naka la because am na waaw okay
as I'm a trade unionist I don't have any business with politics ñun foofu jënd foofu suñu liggéey la ñu ma fan yëfu la di nekk jox sa bindil piis depuis on toosee pour liggéeyut man di mosoo léegi mosoo wax fitna depuis toosee pour liggéeyut man ñu nga négocier pour back and forth man démb da nga fekk fa foog la ñu liggéey fekk fa ñu fekk fa PIU ñu ne comme am na changement bu am ñu ne suma boy bi sax ñu ne ma loolu Sénégal ñu taxi ma ñu ne pour dafa jëlee press release ñu ne cancel nañ ci système moo ko déedéet things gonna go like that we agree with the port at the Ministry of Trade level but up to 8 p.m. in the evening port mun na jënd Saturday ñu cancel loolu fanatic we all agree we all represent the union we all agree there so ñu ne man ñoo fa man we want to know why you change the decision PIU ñu jógee fa ñu ko ñu mën a fi jógee fii ñu fii la ñu liggéey ba dem ka jóobaate waase ñu wax
so PIU da ngeen ko jékki-jékki ngeen gis ko loolu wala
fa la leen fekk
xam nga xamu leen kan moo leen fa indi
GPA wala fi
GPA
because according to my vice president mu ne jóobaate call ma leen dem Sénégal jóobaate call moo am not in town But my vice chairman was there, in charge of everything.
Chopante again is the
MD.
managing director.
Saturday, so in IDPI. In telephone.
So they've got on threaten.
ñu def na ko indi fa piayu ñu jëm ñu joggé fi ci liggéey kay la ñu dem ko mëna fi tassaro fi la dem nga jobal ñu waxu lu tax li am because am na agreement we have the law the guidelines ñu fa rek wax
okay so dem wow exactly dem ba
they unfortunately alas na 20 drivers that are na custody
right now
yeah with our one staff
that's the situation
yeah 20 drivers are on custody so what most important as a Gambian we feel like the police are doing they have command.
Who do you hold responsible? Ñan ngeen foog ne ñoo nekk ci is it ports tamit foog ma ne managing director dafa jékkari rek mu yónni paraay foofu te dafa consultation and
because government balaa muy wax moo tax olof ñaan nguur du gaaw wax balaa muy wax dafay def trop scrutiny mu xam ne lii moo wax dama si dellu gannaaw parce que government dafay wax back and forth that's not a serious government
lii dafa dellu si conflict of interest bu ñoo wax mooy because agency ak ñi xëj na jiyaare ñu ngi liggéey loolu moo
man tuumal naa agent jiyaare port tuumal naa leen because bu agent ñu ne first of all lu ñu ma wax dama simili lay waxee ñu ne ministre of trade moo ne kenn mënu la ràlloo no agent taxaw nañ suñu discours ñu ne seen xaalis su jeexul kenn mënu la ràlloo
ñoom si loolu lañ taxaw ci yéen fu mu nekk ci lan ngeen taxaw lan ngeen jàpp ak lan mooy seen next move
yeah yesterday we have a job emergency meeting we right nañ amateur la dina ko deliver su ko deliver right nañ so deliver yet so ñu ko sign ma ko so mënu ma ci wax lu bari because asana is unofficial but su ko deliver we discuss as an executive we agree on something ñun tey dina put that government before the government so end of the day we publish what they are not starting
nda doo leen start tamit nationwide
anything can happen
so what is the fate of driver yu ñu téye léegi lan ndax dem ngeen seeti gars yi pour ñu bàyyi leen wala
dem naa fa dem with our legal counsel police have a right to keep them for 72 hours put them before the court or give them bail it's left to the police but we expect that as a freedom fighter we expect that man today sax every day su ma jëlee suma kan dem ne sóoraale man dama ñibbi kër as a trade union as activist every day day sóoraale noonu du tax ñu dellu gannaaw xalaatu ko sax
ok time bi jeex na léegi fu mu nekk nii just finally ban kaddu ngay yóbbante kilifa yi xam naa ne du ñàkk ñuy seetaan bu dee ports la bu dee GRTS bu dee GRA wala ñi nga xamante ne mooy agency wala sax nguur gi surtout président bi xam naa ne nekku fi waaye du ñàkk yenn ministère yi ñu ngi fi te ñu jota seetaan li ñu lan ngeen bëgg a fa message bi la
the transport sector right now we have to on a membership basis dem some media platform some fonctionnaire ñu tàng na trop but we are so disappointed as a government because yàgg nañu buggal li ba li musta am ñooñu la go ahead ñu ne ñoo study nañ ko li leen si approve so dina si biir ni ci propose leen xaalis naa tuumal because so fekk agent taxaw na mu ne leen su ma xaalis su jëw li du am ñu gis ne some of the individuals am na si interest ñu bëgg a back for pour ñu dem ñu bañ a liggéey ñu dem sàcca ou ñu dem de criminalism du nga nag we are very disappointed about the government soo fekkee seen kaddu mënuñu ko respect buñu joxee kaddu
jaruñu ko wax
soo fekkee mënuñu joxee kaddu lu mu gëm lu wax mënuñu ko gëm ou they are not qualified they are not competent on the side
ok xam naa ne waxtaan bi nañ ko continuer parce que dañu war a génne statement ci ni mu ko waxee du ñàkk sax suba amaana mu ñëwaat wala ci fan yi ñëw because waxtaan bi dañ ko continuer ndax lii dafa mel ni am na lu ci des wax na nguur gi dañ waxeet ci kaddu yi nga xamante ne wax na ko waaye tamit ci firnde yi nga xamante ne indi na ko mooy documents yi ngeen dégg mariit ko fi ak tamit luñ mujjee génne su ko defee mu ngi noonu moo xewoon dem ci port bi ak taxawaay bi ak tolluwaay ci yëf yi ci ni mu ko waxee incha allah nañ ko toppa président Omar ñu bàyyi la nga tàggatoo incha allah xam naa ne ba ci
we play solidarity with them. Mbir bi jar nañu lu nekk xam nga lii just starting la. We are not threatening. We are activists. We are trade unionists. We always protect the of the drivers. ñun loolu lañ gëm ñun da nga ko def with discipline with the moral with the consultation. But if government give approval, we go. If government approve, if it's necessary, it's our constitutional right, we're going to do it.
All right. Thank you very much once again, Omar Sise Bala, the president of the Gambia Transport Union, bringing us up to speed on what is the latest situation with regards to the queuing system and all that they have been discussing with the authorities, and what is, of course, their stand up to the situation right now as you speak, and probably what plans also do they have, as you heard from him. They have already discussed as an executive and have already written a letter which he's going to sign to be forwarded to the authorities, and thereon they would get back to us and maybe to the public to know what is their position, and we'll keep following, tracking what's the development on that. But for now, we have to say a very big thank you to you also for being with us again as we are returning to the program today after a long break, by the way, but we are surely going to continue the platform for as we always do. So thank you very much wherever you might be watching around the world. This is Africa TV, and it was the Tuesday's edition of the Good Morning Africa right here on your much favorite online TV channel Africa TV. mbokk yi jërë ngeen jëfati ci ànd bi ngeen di ànd ak ñun ci safo bi ak ci kóolute bi fii la ñoo yemandi ak yéen suñ gan gi tey ci jotaay bi mooy Omar Cissé Bala di président of the Gambia Transport Union ba suba ak jàmm ci beneen édition jërë ngeen jëfati ci safo bi waaye ci kóolute bi ci ànd bi ngeen di ànd ak ñun saa su ne jërë ngeen jëf